You are the father.
You walk into your daughter's bedroom and you see her diary. It's right there. Should you pick it up and read it? Your teenager gets a phone call from a friend that you've never met or even heard of. Now, do you secretly listen in on their conversation? You notice a change in your child's behavior, but he or she won't tell you what's wrong. Do you go snooping through his things when he's not home looking for clues? You've told your teenager not to smoke or drink or invite boys over when you're not at home. You think she's doing it anyway. You could set up a hidden video camera to tape her when you're not around. But should you? Welcome to parenting in the 90s. That's right. These days, more and more parents say spying on their teenagers is the only way that they can keep them out of trouble. Of all the industrialized countries of the world, America is the most dangerous to live in. Today, you're going to meet parents whose lives sound more like a spy movie than real life. One mother put a wiretap on her son's telephone. One secretly videotaped her daughter and pays other kids to follow the daughter around. Another forces her son to take drug tests regularly. They say this is what it takes to be a good parent these days. The kids are furious and say that the parents are invading their privacy. How far would you go to check up on your kids? Well, we want you to think about that as you hear our guest stories. I want you to meet my first guest, Trish. Trish is a single mom. She is raising a 15-year-old daughter. And like a lot of moms, she is worried constantly about what her daughter is up to when she's not around. So Trish, admittedly, has taken to spying on her daughter. Her daughter, Heather, is here with us, and we're going to hear from her in a minute. First, Trish, tell me what you do to find out what your daughter's up to. When I say spying, it is spying in your case. What are you up to?
I'm definitely spying on my daughter, Sally. I have read notes, taped conversations on phones. I have videotaped her. I have caught her smoking in the bathroom with a videotape. I have put a videotape out when I wanted to go out one evening in the living room, and she didn't know it was next to the TV. And I told her what the rules were, how they had to be followed. She did not know the camera was on, and I taped the whole night, 6 hours of it, while I was gone.
Now, you have a reputation in town, right?
Yes, I do.
You are even known as someone who sneaks through the bushes.
Yes, I do.
So, you've gone through your daughter's room, listened in her phone call, hidden in the bushes. Was there ever a time when you said to yourself, hey, this is going too far?
Never.
Never?
Ever. No.
You don't think hiding around in bushes is a bit much?
Absolutely not.
And you paid your 11-year-old son and other children to follow her and then report back.
If I cannot watch her.
I think it's time we heard what Heather thinks about this. Heather, why don't you come on out? Heather, I know you are not a happy camper because your mother is spying on you.
Yeah.
Tell me what bothers you the most.
Oh, it's gotta be just everything. She like reads every note I've ever gotten in my entire life. She listens to all my phone conversations and records them. If I'm talking to a guy and she doesn't know their whole family life, she'll call him back and start yelling at him. She'll be like, how old are you? And what do your parents work at? And how far do you think you're getting with my daughter? And it's really embarrassing.
What's the worst thing Mom's ever done?
It had to be the time, it had to be about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and I was walking with my friends. It was a girl and a guy, and we were walking down the street. We were gonna go back to my friend's house and get her clothes because she'd spend the night. And we started walking down the street, and the guy started freaking out. He's like, what's going on? There's like somebody in the bushes.
Were you supposed to be walking at night?
It wasn't even dark out.
Were you supposed to be walking at night? Were you supposed to be walking?
You knew we were going.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, you did.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You were not supposed to be walking.
So he said we're going to be mugged. There's somebody in the bushes.
He thought somebody was trying to jump out and attack us. And he's like, get out of there. He goes, come out here. And then my mom like comes out.
And I scared the daylights out of you, didn't I? This is it. This is real funny. Her friend holds up a stuffed puppy dog like it's going to defend her. And I said, what is this supposed to do? Kill me? Because she didn't know it was me. I said, what if I was somebody else? Wonder if I was some stranger?
What do your friends think about your mom?
They call her Psycho Mom.
And I'm proud of it.
Heather, do you understand what Mother is worried about? Do you understand why? Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that she's worried about things, you know, like people could hurt me or something. I mean, I have no problem her knowing where I'm at all the time and who I'm with. It's the fact of I have no life anymore. My friends are afraid to come to the house because they're afraid that she's going to harass them and hurt them.
Who, when your friends get in trouble, who do they come to?
You, but that's only the ones that know that
really know me, that know that I really care and I respect it all. They know that I will be there for them. I will help them in any way possible, don't they? This weekend, she went camping with my brother, her uncle, and her best friend was with her, and her best friend is 15, had a hickey on her neck. No. I jumped on her instantly. I said, what are you doing with that? That's disgusting, you know. It's not right.
Well, but
when they call me mom and they ask me for advice, I'm there.
I don't feel I'm a troublemaker. I don't cause trouble. I never get into trouble ever.
She has never been in trouble. And why? Because I'm there.
Well, there's somebody else on Heather's side. Heather has an aunt, which would be Trisha's younger sister, right? Her name is Melissa. She's been waiting backstage. You know, we don't know what really goes on in their family. Let's have somebody from the family come out and find out. Come on out, Melissa. Melissa, this is your sister and this is your niece. How do you feel about your sister spying on her daughter?
Heather's great. She is a great kid. She obeys her mom. She doesn't talk back to her. She respects her. They're friends. But yet I don't understand why Trish is so hard on her.
Why do you think is Trish over the line?
Yes, I think she is.
Okay, then why did you take the money when I asked you to go check on her at the cantina? Why?
I'll take the money. Someone's going to give me money.
I paid her $20 to go make sure she was okay.
20?
It was 40.
It was 50.
No, she's like,
$50.
All right, I made it in payments, but I gave you 20 first that night, and then I finished paying you up.
This is getting expensive.
Yes.
It is.
All for you, Heather.
She paid one of Heather's best friends on New Year's Eve to see if she was drinking.
That's right.
I mean,
Heather told me, said she had the flu. I said, I know better. So I paid her friend money to tell me the truth, and Heather had been drinking, and she was very sick, and...
So, Heather, you have, with all the goody two-shoes look you have, you've been caught smoking in the bathroom and drinking up a storm on New Year's Eve.
That's like the only things I've ever done that I've been grounded like that.
Ask her if she's ever drank again.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say that my mother was like Trish. And Heather, you might seem that it's real hard on you now, but when you get older like I am, you realize that she did it for a good reason, and she did it out of love.
Well, I don't know. Is that what parenting has come to in '95? Where is the line? What is she really doing to Heather? When we come back, we're going to meet a mother who taped her son's phone conversation, and you won't believe what she heard. And then we have a mother who makes the 14-year-old boy take drug tests regularly. And if this is making you think about trying this on your kids, we're going to show you some of the latest technology that you can use to find out what they're up to. Stay with us.
I'm down there vacuuming and I hear he, and I'm like, what's going on? I look and there my son is with no clothes on, with a girl underneath my table at the
listening in on phone calls and rummaging through closets and hiding in the bushes and setting up hidden video cameras and going on a stakeout. Now, this really, we've got one. This sounds like some kind of spy adventure movie. Well, it's not. This is what a lot of parents are doing because it's the 90s to find out what their teens are up to when they're not around to watch them. Now, we met a case where we could say, well, the mother's going too far, or maybe she's just a really good mother and she's not. Sometimes this kind of stuff works. We're going to tell you about that now. Meet Kathy. When she suspected that her teenage son Mark was headed for trouble, she did something drastic. She tapped his phone. Mark is with us, waiting backstage. Find out what he thinks about that. But before we bring him out, Kathy, what made you even think of tapping your son's phone?
Well, it all started when he was about 15. He's very popular, really popular with the girls. He was a leader of the pack, willing to try anything. Then things started happening. He'd be on the phone half the night, and he would say he had the flu, he couldn't go to school, and so on and so forth. And then I'd find like beer bottles downstairs, and I saw a few of his friends starting to go downhill. I didn't want it to happen to him.
So unlike Trish, who has no reason at all to suspect her daughter, you, I mean, I think that's just teenage stuff, you know, the New Year's Eve drinking and the... We've got you with a guy who was a good student, suddenly not going to school, beer cans, bad friends.
So much that is that he's just too popular and he's too brave. And when you're that popular, you tend to start getting in with the wrong kids because they just want to be a part of what's going on. Okay. You know, so I didn't, you know, I would say to him, well, what's going on? What are you doing? And of course, it's nothing, nothing, nothing.
Well,
So
he was 15, right?
This started when he was 15.
But when they're 15, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to have anything to do with you. They don't even like you, a lot of
That's
them.
right.
Right? I never try to communicate with them when they're 14. When 15, 16, it's a real...
It's a
forget
time.
it.
Yeah. So I just put a tap on all the lines in the house. And
What'd you find?
Oh, boy. I found a lot of girls being snuck downstairs in the middle of the night, staying overnight,
Okay.
a lot of parties going on, experimenting with, you know, pot and all kinds of stuff. Now, mind you, I didn't do this just to sneak on him. When I was listening to the tape and playing it back, if he was talking to a girlfriend and there was nothing that I thought was unusual, I would just fast forward. I wasn't sitting there just having a good time doing this. But when I would get on the tape and his friend would say, hey, let's meet outside down at the beach at midnight and smoke a joint, I would just casually be up at midnight, sitting by the front door, getting some air, you know, and he would...
Getting air at midnight by the front door.
So, I mean, eventually he's wondering, well, how come my mother knows every time I'm going to do something wrong, she's there? You see, I never came right out and said to him, I know you're going to go smoke pot, or I know you're going to have a party, or I know you're going to sneak 4 girls downstairs tonight. But I would just be there, out of the blue.
This is some kind of kid.
Pardon me?
Nothing. But you find out, okay, what disturbed you the most? The girls coming in and out of the house?
That did, because at that age, I mean, I don't want him getting a girl pregnant, and he's very, very popular, and that's the scary part.
Trish? Heather is not sneaking guys up and down out of the house.
She doesn't have a chance.
I get a virginity test like every 2 or 3 weeks.
You what?
She brings me in to the doctor, and they take a virginity test, and I think I've already lost my virginity to that dumb metal thing that they've been working with.
Let me clarify it. She is of age where she needs to be, a woman has to have their yearly checkup. She got very sick. I asked both doctors that checked her to make sure that she was still a virgin. I trust my daughter. I'm looking for diseases.
15-year-old kids,
Wow.
teenagers, period, they experiment with anything, with alcohol, drugs, sex, anything. Who did it? Who didn't, you know?
All right, wait. Let me get back to Kathy. Kathy, did the drugs bother you?
Well, Mark has never been heavily into drugs, and that isn't the problem. He was starting to experiment. Now, of course, they're all going to experiment, but a few of the friends he had at that time, I knew were doing more than experimenting because, of course, I'm listening, right? So I just wanted to stop him from having the opportunity to go too far.
So what did you do with the information?
I would just simply make
No,
it...
but I mean, did you get him any help? What did you do
Oh,
for
no,
him?
I just simply made sure that it was impossible for him to carry out these plans he had that involved drugs or that involved...
Would you say that tapping his phone was successful in your case?
Very successful.
Let's find out what he thinks, if he thinks it was successful. Mark,
Yes.
first of all, how did you find out Mom was tapping your phone?
Well, you know the double line service that everybody in the world has? It takes like 3 times to click over. My friends are saying, well,
Take him 2 years to find it out.
what's going on? Is your
So
phone
easy,
bugged or
right?
something? And my mom, she would know things. She would hint in a way, and I knew that she had an inside source somewhere. Some like, you know, she like best friends with one of my friends or something. I don't know. And so one day, I'm snooping around the house, and I found it. It was in like the spare room, hidden in a hamper, all wired and everything. Like she thinks she's like 007 or something. James
for 2
Blonde.
years.
In fairness, you were involved in something that could have hurt you. So on some level, are you at all glad that Mother did what she did or
Are
not?
you kidding? No, everybody's scared to come to my house. They think they'll get bugged or something.
Okay, so this has not been a good thing for you.
No.
I know you originally
Well, not a good
called our
thing.
producers because you felt your mom was obsessed with spying.
Yeah, to her, it's like a form of entertainment. It's like my life's Melrose Place. She comes home, what happened today, you know? And
When you have a kid this popular, it is Melrose.
This,
That's
listen,
right.
she-
Okay,
she
they're coming
claims-
into my house in hordes.
Oh,
Yeah.
she claims,
Hey.
she's so rude. That's why I have people over at night, because, you know, she comes down, what are you doing here? What's going on with you and Mark? What do you see in him? Come on, let's have a drink and talk. We're all friends here. I go,
Bye, Mom.
just like that.
All right,
Just
I
like
want you
that.
to meet my next guest, Mary. The mother in the last one says it was very successful. I stopped everything. The son says, yes, you've stopped my life. Like a lot of parents, Mary was worried about, now we're going down to 14 years old, 14-year-old Jimmy getting involved with drugs. Mary, I think every parent worries about these days. Do you have any real reason to suspect he was using drugs?
Yes, I do. He has admitted to me many times, and he tells other people that tell me, both my boys. Well, when we started the drug testing, each one of them came to me individually and said, well, it's not really a point to take the test this time because I won't pass it, so save the money. No. Yeah, they have admitted, Jimmy has admitted to taking LSD. And this scares me. They're very important to me.
So you have 2 sons,
Yes.
and you test them both?
Yes.
Do you test them regularly?
Yes.
Isn't that very expensive?
Yes, it is. But I feel it's an absolute necessity.
To test them?
Yes.
Because they already told you that they are starting to use drugs. They were honest enough to tell you.
Yeah.
What does this testing do for you? Where's it gotten you?
Well, for one thing, Jimmy is very impulsive. And I know he can be talked into things very easily. And I feel like if he knows that I'm going to know, then maybe that, at least it's a start to say, well, maybe I won't do it this time.
So you're testing him regularly, you feel has been a deterrent, especially for Jimmy. Is that correct?
Well, we're just starting. I don't really know how much of a deterrent it's going to be, but I'm hoping.
We
for a
should
bit.
really ask Jimmy, I think. Jimmy, come on out. Now, has Mom ever talked to you about drugs and her concern?
Yes.
She talked that, okay. Mom thinks it doesn't work talking to you.
No.
Why doesn't it work talking to you?
She doesn't trust me or my brother. She thinks we're stealing money from her. She thought I was stealing my own medication from her.
Stealing your medication from her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would I want my own medication?
Has the drug testing worked?
Yeah.
Has the drug testing worked?
I go pee in a cup and they test it.
Okay. Is there a bigger issue going on?
No.
No. You and Mom have a good relationship then, if there's no
Yeah.
bigger issue going on. Do you resent the drug testing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like she doesn't even trust me.
Yeah.
Is drug testing, does that stop you? I mean, if you stop using drugs because she tests you?
No, I
Or
stopped
do you-
because I didn't want to take drugs. It was
Okay, well,
messing
that's
up
good.
mentally.
That's good.
She can't back off. If you try it once, I always say if you try one thing one time, oh, well, what's the second time going to hurt?
Well, then why- why-
It doesn't work that way. You got to keep on them. They're our responsibility. These
Why did you
children
get
here
so
are our
hard?
future.
Why did you get
To
so
an extent.
But when I gave birth to her, I said to myself, this is my child. I am totally responsible for her. No one else is responsible for her. If she gets in trouble, it's me.
I know, but you have to
When
cut
she's
the
of
umbilical
age-
cord sometime,
When she is
Mom.
of age and she can do it herself, I will let go, a little by little.
You feel
Maybe.
you need to continue doing it. He feels it's lack of trust in that he's not doing drugs because he doesn't do him any good.
Well, Jimmy doesn't always tell exactly the truth. We went to the drug testing place Monday, and he kept saying, well, there's no point in you're spending this money. We should go home. And he says, well, I can't pass anyway, so I don't think you should do this.
So as late as Monday. After this break, we're going to show you a kit, plus lots of other high-tech products you can use to find out what your kids are up to when they're not with you. Stay with us.
You are the Five. Get off my stage.
Welcome back. No, there is nothing wrong with your TV. You're looking at me through a special video camera, one that is so small it could fit into a smoke detector, a book, a clock. Let me show you this. Look at the size of this video camera. Okay? Amazing. Now, what I'm doing now is just moving it around very slowly, moving it around the studio. There's the size. No, go back. Go back to the real life thing. I want to show them how teeny weeny this thing really is. Actually, two of those could fit in a cigarette pack. This is just one of the many high-tech surveillance items that parents can get at the local mall. Now, why would you want these things? To spy on your kids. Sometimes, by the way, to spy on your babysitter. And if you think this sounds extreme, you should know that more and more parents are spying on their own children, especially when they're teenagers, and I hear especially when they're girls. We're going to show you some of the latest gadgets you can get to use in your own home in just a minute. I want you to meet Ed Packow. Ed is a private investigator. You've been with us before,
yes,
correct? We have heard from 3 families who've gone to great lengths to spy on the kids. What do you think about what you've heard so far? Now, this man, mothers, this man does what you're doing on an amateur basis. This guy does it for a living. What do you think?
Well, I think I'm hearing a lot of guilt. I think that these parents are judging these children by their own standards. And what they did as kids.
Well, let's ask Mom, is that true? Nope, it is not true. Mom, is that true? Mom, is that true? No. Ed, I read a big article about parents now, usually middle-class parents, black and white, by the way, and Hispanic, going out there and hiring detectives. Have any of them come to you?
Well, some of them come to me, and if I talk to them, I tell them, if you do this, you're going to lose all trust with your children.
Okay. What if somebody is like Jimmy's mom and she says he really won't even take a drug test? I think that we need to help him and get him help. We can't if we can't find out if he's on something.
Well, there's a lot of things you can do. You can do counseling. You can do other drug testing. you can do drug testing with someone never knowing it. You can get 3 of their hairs and tell if they've used drug or alcohol for 6 months. And, you know, I think that...
How many of us would pass that? 1. Okay, big audience, 2.
Yes.
You know, if you put rubbing alcohol on, it'll affect the hairs.
Probably so.
And if you have perfume with alcohol, it'll affect the hairs. Now how many of us will pass that? No cologne? Ed, I know there's some things you won't do. Where would you draw the line?
Well, I draw the line at really intruding on someone's privacy. The 4th Amendment says you have a right to be secure in your home, and the Omnibus Crime Control Act says thou shalt not wiretap. If you're not a party to a conversation, you shouldn't record it.
Yes.
You pay the phone.
Well, as we said, for a parent who wants to spy on their child, it's easier than ever. This is Bob Leonard. Bob is the owner of the Spy Store, which is here in New York, and I think there are kinds of spy-type places. I've seen them in malls all through Canada, all through the States. Not as many in Europe. I think we're more into this than the Europeans. I know you brought some of the latest gadgets that parents can use to check up on their kids. Tell me what you bought. What's the thing that sells the most of this?
Well, that little pinhole camera, which you demonstrated.
How much is that?
$750.
Okay.
It's low light, it's wide angle, it's a very good quality camera, and you might see things, you might look for somebody in the home, a friend bringing drugs in or whatever. You might see anything else also. You don't know what you're going to see.
You could use
it's
it
your
for,
own home. It's
as we said, for babysitters, and
babysitters.
that is legal?
That's definitely legal, yes.
Okay, what else?
This is also incorporated into a clock.
Where?
Anywhere.
You mean that camera could be in that clock?
Definitely. Anywhere, very, very easily.
Because the opening is so small, the pinpoint opening is so small.
That's under a 1/16 of an inch.
Wow. Under 1/16
You go
of
to
an
a smoke
inch.
detector camera also.
That's what I suggested Mom do with Heather. Go ahead.
Now, the tape recording, as we know, you must be party to a conversation. Otherwise, it's definitely illegal. But there are other ways to do this, meaning there's caller IDs to see who's calling your children.
Caller ID, okay.
Caller ID, you'll get incoming phone numbers. It'll store 75 numbers. There's what we call a telemonitor, which will give you time, date, number called of all your outgoing calls, as opposed to calling the phone company, waiting a month for your bill to come in and demanding your
How
local
much
calls.
does that cost?
That's $350.
$350, you can find out how many calls anybody made and to whom.
Yes.
Okay. What else?
We go right down here. You talk about drug testing. One quick swipe with this swab. This is a cocaine drug test on a surface, a garment, on a surface in your home which might suspect something was used. This will pick up 1 microgram of a drug and turn this pink into blue immediately.
Any kind of drug or just cocaine?
No, well, there are specifics. If
You get
want
one
for
for
heroin,
coke?
right, 1 for heroin, 1 for coke, 1 for marijuana. This will also cover some stimulants. It'll read positive.
How, I don't quite understand how that would work. Do you see it immediately?
Yes.
You do?
Someone's clothing.
Put it on my jacket. Pretty confident. Huh?
Right.
All right.
You're okay. You're okay.
Thank you. What would it look like?
It would turn color.
Huh? It would turn color. Put it on Jimmy's hand. Put it on Jimmy. Jimmy, give me your left hand.
Are you infringing on it? Are you infringing on it? You want to do that? Do you want to do that, son?
Do it. Do you want
It's
to
up
do
to
it?
you.
Okay.
You're
Yeah, he
18.
said
You
it
could be
then.
in the Marine Corps.
He could be in the
Oh,
Marine
I
Corps?
love it.
Wait a minute, Mom. We're sending him to the Marine Corps.
Now, see, that's clean.
He's clean, too.
Right.
Good enough. Okay. Bob, are there anybody else in the audience like one? No. Just kidding. Are there any other things that you could advise parents against doing?
Well, there are ways to go about trusting your child or not trusting your child. If you have these children here, my limited experience in raising children, I have 3 children, they should count their blessings, not their wishes. Because their wishes, sometimes parents go overboard. If you want to observe what your children do, that might be an idea to go observe them. There's items for that. There's night vision equipment, which today you can get relatively cheaply. to observe. If that's, but we're talking basically like kids.
Night vision. Do you have a night vision?
Night vision right here.
What does that do?
This will turn the nighttime into daytime.
Okay.
When you want to observe, a lot of times children will hang out. They'll always find a dark location to hang out, in a ballpark or a
So
back
you're
of the store
sitting
that's
in your
closed,
car and you've got this.
and you can see what goes on.
Can you turn out the lights? Would that be?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Try to turn out the lights, and we'll try to see what it is that you would see with the night vision camera. I don't know. How's he going to show it? Okay.
Let's see.
Pretty good. That's using the hidden camera and the night vision. Yeah, it is good for the bushes.
But,
Mom, it's good for the bushes. What is this?
well, this is another way. This is a metal detector. It's simple, but today, I'm not so sure about Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
We're behind.
But
You're behind.
Or behind a little bit.
Well, you know, everything that goes on in big cities.
But you know
go
what this
on there,
is?
But it's just not as.
This is the one they'd use at an
Common.
airport. So your child is having 23 people in for a
Right.
graduation party, and you rent this, I guess, and then find out who's got metal on them. It's a metal detector like they use at the airport. It is crazy. I
It's
agree.
not crazy. That's the most effective thing you can do, because
This is the
every week you'll hear somebody in this city dies at a party.
Yes.
Every week at least. It happens constantly. So these are the items which you can use, which shouldn't really offend a person. If you want to observe your son, I think that's all right to observe your son at a certain age, but at a
Well, I
certain
think
age
you
gotta
two
break
are
it
going to
off.
disagree. Before we rig up the video camera, you'll want to hear what our next guest says. She's a family therapist. She says spying on your kids could do some long-term damage. Hear that, moms? We'll talk to her next. When you saw that equipment, moms, did you think maybe I ought to buy one of those?
I already have a magazine like that.
She's got a spy magazine already. She
No.
looks through it and browses.
But
Oh,
let me
you wait
tell
for this,
you
they'll
why.
come in.
He found the tape, and it's been going on for about 2 years, and I said, hey, I think he's going to be okay now. Now, this is not a matter of
gonna be
trust.
okay now.
It's a matter of his popularity and his involvement with women. Girls, I should say. Now, here's an
Girls, you
example.
don't understand what she does.
No,
Well, wait.
Here's
We're
an
getting
example.
into something I can't handle. The mothers said they would buy the equipment. Should they buy the equipment? I want you to meet Isabel Richards, a family therapist. Isabel.
Hi, Sally.
Hi there. Should those mothers get Spy magazine and buy this equipment?
Oh, I don't think so. I think what's going on is parents are reacting to their own concerns for their children. So I think that their hearts are in the right places. But I think what's happened is they've engaged in trying to control their children, which results in a power struggle between them and the kids.
Okay, but let's take Kathy. Kathy seems to be very worried about her son getting somebody pregnant.
Yes.
Let me give you an example, though. What had happened was,
I didn't hear
this is
anything about that.
about 2 weeks ago, I had new windows put in the house.
Oh.
And you know how they make a mess?
Okay,
They
go
take the
ahead.
old
Say
windows
it.
out, and there's garbage everywhere. So that I had my couch pulled out away from the window, and this high back table that you put plants on. It's about 2:30 in the morning, and I can't sleep because I'm all upset because all my house is a mess. So I get up and decide I'm going to start vacuuming and
3 in the
hanging
morning, out of the
my
blue.
curtains.
God,
Oh yes,
I
but
really
guess
have
what
to
I find
vacuum.
at 3 in the morning out of the blue? I'm down there vacuuming, and I hear he, and I'm like, what's going on? I look, and there my son is with no clothes on, with a girl underneath my table at the
Okay. Let me tell you what really happened. Okay, fine, it's true. But not the way she said it.
Oh, no.
She came down, and I had my sweater on the couch. And she comes down, she goes, who's in here? And you go, I'm just like being quiet.
No, that's not
and she knew we were in there, so she pretends to vacuum.
Oh,
She
yeah,
wanted
right.
to catch me. She wanted to catch me.
You're the psychologist.
Here's what's disturbing.
She could have left me in my privacy.
Everything is happening behind someone's back. See, even when one mom, I think it was you perhaps, he said you found out that your son was using drugs. Nothing is confronted directly. This goes on, and we keep going for drug tests, rather than saying, let's do something about it. So we can get drug tests from now until doomsday. But let's address the problem. Let's talk with one another. It seems like the communication
Yeah, but at
is
7,
indirect.
at that age, they're going to say, I don't want to talk to you. Now what do you do?
Well, I think parents who have adolescent children, even older adolescent children, living with them, have a right to certain expectations. They have a right to open communication. They have a right to ask for a certain way of living in the household, that girls aren't coming in the middle of the night, that drugs are not being used. If the adolescents cannot comply or do not wish to comply with that, then they can make their own way and go live elsewhere. But I think to ask someone to go for drug
Wait, does
testing...
she, I want to be very specific. Does Kathy have a right to say to Mark, you can't do this in my house?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, she does.
Then Mark will go and do it in the car and behind the house,
She doesn't
right?
tell me. She doesn't disagree with what I do.
She can say, you cannot do that living in this house. And if you choose to do that, then find somewhere else to live. But I think to...
So she throws
chase
Mark
him-
out.
Then
She
where's
can do
Mark
that.
go? He goes
She can
with
do
all
that.
the people that starts doing drugs or something? No.
What?
What you just
No,
said
no,
about
it's not me,
moving
I'm not
out
gonna
and
throw
stuff like
you
that is
out.
exactly what happened to me with my parents. I never got spied on. We went to counseling because, you know, we were going through some problems, you know. And after counseling, we decided that it wasn't going to work, me living in the house. So then I moved out.
Yes.
And after that was fine.
Yes,
I don't
and
understand.
that's a solution.
I don't understand what's happening, you know, spying on your children. I mean, I have a 4-year-old son, and I can't imagine. I mean, I would be worried sick like they are if he was doing drugs
Yes,
and
of
so
course.
forth.
The camera
But
in his light bright.
I want to talk to him. I want to be able to, that he knows,
before he does it.
that he knows
doing
that, you know,
what?
this is wrong, and you're
That's
going to
me
make your
doing what?
choices, and you're going to do this and this, but please come to me as your mom and let me know, let me
Yes.
tell you, let me help you,
Yes.
but not
Ask my
spy,
daughter.
give him
Kathy,
trust.
Okay.
Mark
Who's
is
your best friend?
sexually active.
Yes.
Why don't you give him protection and let him do what he's going to do?
Ever since I was taping him at between age 15 and 16 and I found out he was sexually active, I would nonchalantly sit him down and say, son, now if something happens that you are going to be sexually active, please use protection. Absolutely. I mean, I
Are you
wasn't-
using protection every single
Oh, yeah,
solitary
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
time?
didn't
course.
see any protection nude under that table.
But see, Sally...
We'll be right back.
You're looking that close? You got problems.
You are the foul. Get off my stage.
By the way, Ed says that in the drug tests, the hair is better than the using the urine, which he should know, I guess. And he also thinks that when people ask him to get recording equipment, he doesn't buy it, touch it, or sell it, because selling isn't illegal, but using sometimes is. Now, let me ask Isabel. You said things are going on quietly. In their house, Heather knows that her mother is spying on her. Therefore, should her mother be spying on her?
Well, she's still
It's
doing
not.
it.
She knows what's going on.
She knows, but she's still doing it behind her back. Heather's walking down the street, her mom jumps out of the bushes, is what I've been hearing. And that has to be humiliating with her friends.
I think so.
I think the bigger problem is that parents are trying so hard to protect their children here, their older children, and the kids are not going to learn the skills that they need to deal with life. That's the long-term problem.
Yes.
My brother,
Go ahead.
We did not start with the drug testing as our first step. We tried education. We worked on the education for a long time. And about 2 years ago, and it's continuing now, we spend more money on counselors out of our monthly budget than we do any other bill.
Counseling is your largest.
Yeah, each of my boys go individually, and we go as a family.
Okay.
And that's...
Isabel, what should Mary do?
Oh, I think what Mary's doing with that is fine, because it's a different situation with Mary and her son. She had a history. She had proof that he was using drugs, he admitted to using drugs, and what she's doing is a safeguard that's often used in conjunction with therapy.
Yes, many times if you go to a therapy place, they test.
Yes.
And they test when you go out and when you come back to the therapy
That's right.
place. Uh-huh. Yes.
I was wondering if, Trish, if you are married.
Recycle single parent.
Okay, and do you bring men home with you?
Pardon me?
Do you bring men home with you to show your daughter to see what she's going to do?
She picks them.
She picks them.
She dates
But are you showing a good example for your daughter?
Yes, I am.
By bringing other men home, different men?
I date.
Or one man?
I don't date. I date. I don't bring a lot of men home, no.
Do you work? Do you have a job?
Only when they're in school.
Only when they're in school?
Yep.
Then I think you need to get a life.
I do got it. Right here.
Go ahead.
That's not the issue.
I just wanted to say that I think the structure of the family is based on the concept of communication. And I think if you have to resort to using all kinds of gizmos and gadgets like the things that were demonstrated earlier, I think you lose what little communication you have, and I think you lose the basis of the family right there.
My son and I communicate really well.
Take a break. This gentleman is Jack Hernish, and he's with Barringer Drug Test. This is one where you can swab anywhere in the room, by the way, and then you mail it in, and tests for all kinds of drugs. Isabel, in closing, what would you like to say?
Well, I'd like to say I would encourage these families to talk a little more with one another, to be more open about what's happening, and not to try to control one another, because that ultimately just leads to families splitting apart. And I wouldn't like to see that happen with any of these, because I think they have the best of intentions.
What does Heather do with Trish?
I think what Heather needs to do is back off a little bit.
No, Trish is the mother.
Sorry, Trish is the daughter, the mom. Trish needs to back off a little bit with Heather. Maybe if Heather is a little more forthcoming with information, Mom would relax a little bit.
Oh, no,
They do.
They do communicate a lot.
Yes.
Okay,
But she doesn't hide anything from her mom.
Okay,
If she does something wrong, she'll
then there
tell,
isn't any
but-
reason to be chasing her around.
Right.
You need to trust a little bit with her. That's it.
We'll be right back. Somewhere in there lies a middle ground between being a concerned parent and being an outright snoop. Here's hoping you find it. Thank you. See you next time.
You are the Five.